You're not lazy. You're tired. Tired of waking up every day knowing what you need to do and still not doing it. You've watched the YouTube videos, downloaded the productivity apps, tried just starting, and yet, here you are again, sitting, scrolling, feeling like a failure before the day even begins. And the worst part? You want to do it. You want to work on that project. You want to study. You want to change. But the second you try, something tightens in your chest. Your brain fogs up, and you suddenly feel like lying down again. It's like your body is fighting against you. But what if I told you it's not? What if procrastination isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign that your brain is protecting you from something deeper? Because the problem isn't willpower, it's wiring. And the only way out is to stop trying harder and start understanding smarter. Let's get one thing straight. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It's not even a motivation problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. Every time you avoid something, it's not because you don't want to do it. It's because, on a deeper level, your brain links that task with discomfort, fear, or pain. Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's the anxiety of not doing it perfect. Maybe you're overwhelmed, so your brain says, let's do anything else that feels safe. That's why you suddenly feel the need to clean your room, scroll Instagram, or watch another productivity video, instead of just opening that document. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do. Protect you from perceived threats, even if the threat is just a task that makes you feel not enough. Here's how it works. When you think of that one thing you've been avoiding, your brain gets a little surge of stress. It starts releasing cortisol, the stress hormone, and your body responds as if it's in danger. You tense up, your breathing changes, your energy drops. That's not laziness. That's your nervous system kicking in. And what's the fastest way to feel better? Avoid it? Distract yourself? Delay? Boom. Instant relief. And that's where the loop begins. We call it the procrastination cycle. 1. Feel discomfort. 2. Avoid discomfort. 3. Feel temporary relief. 4. Add guilt. 5. Feel worse. 6. Repeat. You've been taught that procrastination means you're undisciplined, that it's a character flaw. But that's not the truth. The truth is, you're stuck in a system that reinforces avoidance, and systems always beat intentions. Always. That's why willpower alone doesn't work. That's why motivational speeches wear off after 10 minutes. That's why, even after watching this video, you might still go back to your bad habits, unless we change the system you operate in. Because here's the real kicker. The more you procrastinate, the more you train your brain to see hard things as dangerous. And the more dangerous something feels, the more your nervous system pushes it away. But here's the good news. If your brain learned to avoid, it can learn to engage. If you trained it to escape, you can retrain it to take action. But only if you stop shaming yourself and start rewiring the way you approach discomfort. It's not about fighting your brain. It's about understanding it, so you can finally work with it. So no, you're not lazy. You're not broken. You've just been reacting to pain the only way your brain knows how, by hiding. But that ends today. Now here's what makes this cycle worse. You start identifying with the problem. You don't just say, I procrastinate. You start saying, I'm a procrastinator. That tiny shift in language becomes a belief. And that belief becomes a prison. Because once your identity wraps itself around avoidance, any attempt to change feels like self-betrayal. Your brain resists it, not because you can't do the work, but because doing the work now feels like a threat to who you've become. It's not just about doing the task anymore. It's about proving your beliefs wrong. And your ego hates that. You don't just need tools. You need permission to be someone else, to believe something else. And that starts by accepting one truth. Procrastination is not the enemy. It's a message. It's your brain saying, hey, I'm overwhelmed, I'm scared, I don't feel safe doing this. And instead of responding with shame, what if you responded with curiosity? What if instead of asking, what's wrong with me, you asked, what am I avoiding feeling right now? Because that's the root. Most people procrastinate, not because the task is hard, but because it makes them feel something they'd rather avoid: insecurity, inadequacy, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. So, of course you scroll. Of course you binge. Of course you distract. You're not avoiding the work, you're avoiding the feeling. And until you acknowledge that, no productivity hack will save you. But if you do, if you're willing to feel what you've been avoiding, you break the cycle. Because the moment you face the feeling, your brain learns, hey, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And that's the turning point. Here's the problem with most stop procrastinating advice. It assumes you're broken, that you need to be more motivated, more disciplined, more productive. But you've already tried that, haven't you? You downloaded the apps, you wrote the to-do list, you even told yourself, this time I'm serious. And still, it didn't stick. So maybe it's not a you problem, maybe it's a system problem. See, we've been sold this idea that willpower is the solution, that if you just try harder, you'll finally get your life together. But that's not how human behavior works. As James Clear puts it, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Let that sink in. Your brain doesn't respond to motivational quotes. It responds to cues, environments, rewards, and repeatable patterns. So if your environment rewards scrolling, if your routine is built around chaos, if your phone is your first dopamine hit in the morning, then, of course, you're going to procrastinate because your brain is doing exactly what it was trained to do, not what you want it to do, what you designed it to do. Now here's where it gets real. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to change the game you're playing. Discipline isn't about waking up and forcing yourself to work. It's about removing the things that make avoidance easier than action. Think about it. A guy who wakes up, leaves his phone outside the room, opens his laptop, and starts writing at a clean desk, versus a guy who wakes up next to his phone, checks TikTok, stares at his messy desk, and tells himself, I'll start after one more video. Who's going to win? Every single time. Not the stronger one. The one who designed their system to make the right thing the easy thing. That's the secret no one tells you. You don't need more motivation. You need less resistance. Let's talk about dopamine. Most people think it's the chemical of pleasure, but that's not true. Andrew Huberman explains it best. Dopamine is not about reward, it's about pursuit. In other words, you don't get dopamine when you finish a task. You get it when you feel like you're making progress towards something meaningful. That's why scrolling social media feels good. It gives you a false sense of progress. Endless novelty, tiny hits, no real movement. And that's also why procrastination kills your motivation. Because when you avoid a task, you stop the dopamine loop. Your brain doesn't feel forward motion, it feels stuck. And here's the paradox. The only way to get motivated is to do something, even something tiny. Because dopamine doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Now pair that with what James Clear says. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. So when you hit snooze, scroll aimlessly, or break a promise to yourself, you're not just wasting time. You're voting for a version of you that stays stuck. But when you do the smallest thing right, make your bed, write a single sentence, put your phone in another room, you're casting a vote for the version of you that follows through. You don't have to win every vote. You just have to win most of them. Think of your identity like a jar. Every time you take action, you drop a marble in. The lazy marble, or The I showed up marble. The I scroll when I'm stressed marble. Or the I breathe and reset marble. You don't change overnight, but over time, one marble becomes a pattern. A pattern becomes a habit, and a habit becomes who you are. Let's make this real. Imagine two people. Person A is highly motivated. He watches motivational videos every morning. He journals. He sets big goals. He says all the right things. But his phone is next to his bed. He works at a messy desk. He has no clear start time. He checks social media just for 5 minutes before working. Person B doesn't talk much. He doesn't even feel motivated most days. But his phone is on silent in the kitchen. His desk is clean. He has a 9 a.m. writing block every single day. He sits down, no drama, just does the work. Who gets more done? You already know the answer, because this isn't about motivation. This is about architecture. The most successful people don't have more willpower. They have fewer reasons to fail. They don't rely on discipline. They design discipline. They don't fight distractions. They pre-remove them. They don't wait until they feel like it. They build systems that don't ask how they feel. Here's a brutal truth. If you're losing the game, stop blaming the player. Change the rules. If your environment makes it easy to avoid hard things, you will avoid them. If your tools, your phone, your apps, your workspace are designed for distraction, then no amount of trying harder will save you. But if you change just one variable, move the phone, block the apps, clear the space, your behavior changes without even trying. Think of your willpower like battery life. If you start the day with distractions everywhere, your battery drains before you even begin the real work. But when your system is clean, when distractions are blocked, your space is ready, and your tasks are clear, you don't burn through your battery. You flow. This is what James Clear meant by, make the good habit the path of least resistance. Don't just make it possible to do the right thing. Make it harder to do the wrong thing. Let's simplify this even further. Bad system. Phone on desk. No clear work time. Workspace cluttered. I'll start soon becomes, I'll try again tomorrow. Good system. Phone in drawer or another room. Calendar block for deep work. Same time every day. Desk clear with only one task visible. No willpower needed. Just sit and start. Which one do you think your brain will respond to? Here's the final insight. Your brain doesn't care what you say you want. It cares what you repeatedly do. And what you do is shaped by what surrounds you. Not your big goals, not your inspirational vision board, your environment. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just being outsmarted by your surroundings. But the moment you flip the script, the moment you design your life to make the right thing easy, everything changes. You stop asking, how do I get motivated? And you start asking, how can I make action automatic? That's when the game flips. That's when you stop fighting yourself. That's when you win. All right, you get it now. You're not lazy. You're miswired. And now it's time to rewire the system. Not with 17 productivity hacks, not with another ultimate morning routine, but with a real flexible structure you can actually live with. So here's the deal. Forget perfection. Forget motivation. Forget discipline. We're building something better, a system that works even on your worst days. Let's start simple with 5 moves. Move 1. Clear the battlefield. The first thing you need to do is remove the traps. Your brain is not going to win a war if the enemy is inside your house. So get rid of the most obvious sabotage devices. Your phone, your browser, your chaos. Move your phone out of reach when working. Disable social notifications during focus hours. Use apps like Cold Turkey, Forest or Freedom to block black hole websites. Clean your desk. Yes, literally. Make it frictionless to just sit and start. This isn't optional. This is the default environment you operate in. And if you don't control it, it will control you. Even just moving your phone 10 feet away can reduce your distraction rate by 50%. That's not a guess. That's neuroscience plus design. Move 2. Build a starter task ritual. Here's the secret. Most procrastination happens before you even start. So instead of trying to tackle a big task, design a ritual that triggers your brain. When I do X, I start Y. Examples. After making coffee, open laptop, phone, write 1 sentence. After brushing teeth, set 25-minute timer, pull the open study notes. After lunch, close all tabs, pull start on 1 task, no matter how small. The goal isn't to crush your to-do list. The goal is to start. Because once you start, dopamine takes care of the rest. Move 3. Reset your reward system. Let's talk about dopamine again, this time with strategy. Right now, your brain's getting dopamine from all the wrong things. Refreshing TikTok, random scrolls, finishing a bag of chips. But you can steal that dopamine back and train your brain to crave progress instead. Here's how. Break your main task into tiny visible wins. Every time you complete a microtask, check it off visibly. Whiteboard, sticky note, app, whatever. Treat small progress like it matters, because it does. You're retraining your brain. Progress to pleasure, not procrastination. Try this. Write 1 sentence. Finish a 25-minute deep work session. Shut down laptop at scheduled time. Celebrate that. Literally say, "That's like me." You're reinforcing your identity with each tick, and your brain loves it. Move 4. Install a mirror system. Here's the truth. You won't follow through every day. That's okay. But if you don't track, you won't even notice you're slipping until it's too late. So let's fix that. Set up a micro self-check system. At the end of the day, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Did I start when I said I would? 2. Did I finish 1 important task, even if it was small? 3. Did I avoid my number 1 distraction? No judgment, just notice. If you miss 2 days in a row, reset. If you win 3 days in a row, reflect plus reward. You can log this in a journal, an app like Notion Done or Loop Habit Tracker, or just a sticky note on your wall. The point isn't to be perfect, it's to stay aware. Awareness creates momentum. Momentum builds consistency. And consistency makes change feel inevitable. Let's go deeper. You've cleared distractions. You've started building rituals. You've even reset your reward system. But none of that sticks, unless you believe you're the kind of person who follows through. So here's the final move. Write 1 sentence. I am the kind of person who. Mice. Not wants to do it, not tries to be, not hopes to become, just is. Fill it in. I am the kind of person who shows up, even when it's boring. I am the kind of person who does 1 deep thing before checking my phone. I am the kind of person who finishes what I start. Write it. Say it out loud. Put it where you can see it. Desk, mirror, lock screen. Then earn it. 1 action at a time. Every time you take a small step that proves that identity, dopamine fires. And slowly, you become the person you used to pretend to be. Recap. Your 5 reset moves. 1. Clear the battlefield. Reduce friction. 2. Trigger a starter ritual. Anchor to habits. 3. Reset rewards. Give dopamine to progress. 4. Track with a mirror system. Awareness over willpower. 5. Rewire identity. Be who you act like. This isn't about doing all 5 perfectly. It's about choosing 1 to start with, today. Because the second you act, the loop begins. You stop being someone who watches videos about change, and you become someone who starts. Let's make this identity shift real. Here's what most people do wrong. They wait for proof, then change what they believe. But real change works the opposite way. Believe first, act like it, and let action reinforce the belief. Think of it like this. I'm a procrastinator. So you act like one. And every time you procrastinate, you reinforce the belief. That belief makes future action harder. But now flip it. I'm someone who follows through. So you start the timer even when you don't feel like it. You do just one block of focused work. And suddenly, you've proven it. It's not magic. It's evidence-based identity design. You've tried everything. But maybe this time, you didn't just try. You finally understood. You finally stopped asking, why am I like this? And started asking, what system am I stuck inside? Because now you know, you're not failing because you're weak. You're failing because you're surrounded by design choices that reward failure. And now, you've got 5 moves to break the loop. One small change to prove to your brain, hey, we're not stuck anymore. So here's the question. What's the first move you are going to make today? No fluff, no planning. Just do it once, then do it again tomorrow. That's how change starts. If this helped you reset your thinking, subscribe. We're just getting started. Welcome to your new default self.